So, so horror by any other name is still horror unless a person is just so, you know, I- doesn't understand. Yeah, what, you know, there is such a thing. So, oh yeah, that's no big deal. Yeah, that's no big deal. Yeah, that's no big deal. When does it start mattering? There's a question, and yeah, I'm trying to think about, I have tried over the past few years to communicate some things, and really tried, when I moved from Tennessee, I could no longer do what I was doing in Tennessee to help protect people, and that is so important to me. And I lost my purpose, and and it's been hard to survive it. And I can't change the way people think. I can't change those attitudes that drive the way some people behave towards me. And you know, how do you survive it? Why are humans alive? There's a question, and yeah, it's Sunday, and yeah, does it sound like a sermon? Well, you know, I don't know whether or not that is my intention, but I don't have a degree in divinity. All right, so education. All right, so horror by any other name. We are to those times, and there's always some of that going on. But yeah, it's really important, to 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 not ignore things that are going on that where people are being harmed very badly. And you know, I feel like in the past few years, I don't know what time frame, I think that I've communicated some things that were sensible. And look at this going on, and look at this history. Well, I feel like what has happened is that now it's kind of like, well, as an intuitive, this is coming up and this is coming up. Well, does it mean anything now? Well, that I communicated from early on did mean something. That is not something coming out of the mouth of a woman drunk on drugs. It's coming out of the mouth of a woman with a lot of life experience, and and even some formal education attained later in life, that is maybe no more credible to some people, because no matter what I do, there are always going to be some people that don't like me, that everything I do is wrong, So yeah, what's wrong with them? That's a question. I mean, because something is when people think like that. So yeah, horror, horror. Filtering it. Well, I mean, we have to be able to function, and we all, everybody, I think probably adults need to go on a mental vacay sometimes, but it's so important not to ignore. So yeah, kind of what got me wanting to talk to the screen is, talking out loud down in the kitchen, Mr. Baisley, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville. And I do wonder, Tuberville, Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville, how dare you? I don't know if I can do it. I think that sort of my accents got kind of mixed up. How, how I don't know. So, good day, good day, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Tuberville. What can I do for you, Mr. Tuberville? What can I do for you, Mr. Tuberville? Yeah, so, and Mr. Beasley, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Beasley, how dare you? Now, and here I go, because I can't sustain it. How dare you contribute to the slapping on of ankle monitors onto humans? And what history do we need to find to help people see it more clearly so that we stop the harm? So, yeah, horror by any other name is still horror. And, some people write horror fiction. Sometimes that comes from places in a person's life that are just so hard to survive. Where does it come from? Horror movies, yeah, but we need to remember there is horror going on in everyday life, and really, what I feel is that what I believe is that as humans, it's our responsibility to prevent it and to stop it. And sometimes people get killed trying to stop it. Well, That's not good. All right. But how do we stop it without causing harm or being harmed? So, Mr. Baisley, Mr. Baisley, Mr. Tuppervale, and I could keep on, I, I cannot sustain that accent. And if I wrote a script, then maybe I could, but yeah, do we need to teach some Southern history? And if we need to teach some Southern history, how do we do it? Because we sure don't do it, and we shouldn't do it by allowing things to happen where people get killed. And that is some of what has happened historically, and that has continued. So, yeah, if we want to talk about families, there are families where things went on historically that were not good, unethical, human trafficking. We could just talk about that. That doesn't mean that everyone with that same last name does the same thing, but, how do you start to learn what you need to learn, to see what you need to see to prevent harm? Whether that is to yourself, whether it's to someone you care about, and I don't know, I just don't understand. I mean, I guess I remind myself that my dad, though he had his sharpshooter's badge, trained as a medic in the army. And so, yeah, maybe he thought like that. And maybe he taught me also to think like that, And yeah, so horror by any other name is still horror. And yeah, Happy New Year. Here we are at 2026. And yeah, it damn well better be a better year.